Joining us now, investor Geoff Lewis, founder and managing partner of Bedrock Capital. Bedrock is an investor in OpenAI, in Rippling, and Flock Safety. And we'll start out just something you said off camera. So we've got some stuff ahead of us. It's not going to end next week, probably.
You know, my sense is that this is not just a normal macro cycle. I do think we're in sort of a transitional phase societally. If you look back in history, you know, regimes, structures, systems globally rise and fall every 80 to 100 years. And I do feel like we're in this kind of a transition phase right now. So my theme is basically just buckle up for many years of volatility.
4, 5, 6 years.
I don't know. I'm not a prophet, but I think it is going to be many years.
And what's the end? What are we where were we, and what are we headed to? And we were globalists, just at the torpedoes be damned. We're going to be.
We're multipolar. We're already heading in that direction. So that's nothing new. We're heading in a multipolar world direction. I think on the other side of this, you're going to see new institutional structures emerge. Some of them are going to be countries. Others are going to be companies. And there's going to be a small handful of new institutions that are going to be resilient enough to survive this insane volatility. And, you know, we're trying to build one at Bedrock. The companies we invest in are trying to be resilient companies, names like Flock Safety that are building mission critical infrastructure, in that case for local communities and law enforcement, defense technology companies, core technological infrastructure companies. We believe OpenAI is one of those names, but these are the types of things that are gonna survive.
All right, that's a kicking off point for me to toss it over to.
Okay, what's going on? You're an OpenAI guy. You love OpenAI.
I'm a proud, and we're proud investors in OpenAI at Bedrock.
So yeah, what do you think is going to happen? We keep hearing more about this fission between OpenAI and Microsoft, and what's really happening. And by the way, I talked to Sam Altman back in November, and he said, yeah, we have some disagreements, but it's going to be okay. And then we had this other conversation with Satya in Davos, where he also indicated there was, you know, not everything's always perfect, but we're investing in them. So how do you think this all goes?
I mean, look, the reality is these guys are both extremely talented, extremely important people running very complicated enterprises. The story the other day said they speak once per week. That seems like a lot for two really busy people. I imagine they're both going to exist as really important institutions on the other side of all this volatility.
But do you think that they'll be together? What's your gamble there? No, because, by the way, it does matter in terms of what you think then the investment becomes for Microsoft. Also, the additional capital that'll be needed to run the business almost independently for OpenAI.
Seems like the relationship is durable and in a meaningful form for the long term. That's my take.
And then let me ask you, you've been a big believer that they are the first mover, so they have the brand, meaning ChatGPT, I think. That's part of your thesis.
Yes, correct.
And we were talking about to Jessica earlier. Google, you would think, should be able to win this game or should have a better position than they currently do, both with Gemini, the technology itself, but also because they have all of the product and all of the data. And the question is, do you think that there is going to be a moment that that's going to somehow be unleashed?
I don't. And the reason why links back to what I said earlier, which is in an environment that is this volatile, I actually believe that private enterprises have the edge over public companies. When you're a public company like Alphabet, you're subject to all of the crazy market volatility.
But don't you think that in the next 6 months, OpenAI has to actually figure this out and become a public company, in which case all of the benefits that you just described disappear?
I don't think they have to become a public company at all. I think they have to complete their restructuring on the timeline that they're aiming to do it. That's an important priority for them. That doesn't mean they have to become a public company at all. I would expect that to stay private for quite a long time. SpaceX has been private for something like 22, 23 years at this point. Stripe in the private market's not a name we're invested in, but a great company. I think increasingly in this volatile new normal, there are key advantages for companies to stay private a lot longer. This is not a neg on the public markets, but being public introduces a whole other level of volatility when you're trying to build for these very long duration resilient horizons. So I think OpenAI actually has the edge on Google there for that reason.